Welcome to the Sound Creator Podcast, where I explore the fascinating world of sound design and sound effects. I'm your host, Cedric Black, and in each episode, I dive deep into the art of creating unique audio experiences. Join me as I share my personal journey in sound design, from crafting realistic sound effects to building captivating soundscapes. On this show, I will dive into this unique art of sound that brings movies, games, and media to life. Welcome to the show. And welcome back to another episode of the Sound Creator Podcast. For this episode, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to start the show out a little differently. Normally, the normal format of the show is to talk about the things that I wanted to share, either if I'm introducing a new sound or something that I created, or to share a sound with you guys for the first time. And that usually happens about midway through the show. But this time I want to go directly into the sound, so that just thought maybe it could give you a different twist on the way things may sound, or maybe you will hear it differently if we just go into the sound directly first and then come back and talk about it. So let's do that right now. Let's just go into the sound and come back and start the show. Pitcher of ice water, just regular old tap water and ice cubes, along with something I mentioned in the previous episode, a hydrophone, just a microphone that specializes in recording underwater sound sources. Just an underwater microphone. That's it. That's all that I used in that sound. Interestingly enough, the ice cubes added a different element to it. Without actually seeing maybe a picture or a visual of it, I didn't really think about the sound of it or the context of that sound with the ice cubes, because the bubbles added. Well, now the bubbles added a little bit. It added an extra layer of storytelling to the sound, because I used something I found. I think it's a toy, but I found it at a bargain store for $1. I think I mentioned this in the previous episode about discovering some things that I can use in the bargain store for $1, and this is a toy, and I don't know what it's called, but I think it's something that you use to maybe blow up balloons. But it has like a little toy manual. I call it my makeshift air compressor. So it just has a tube attached to it and a manual hand, I guess, compression. So when I'm squeezing it, it sends air through the tube, and that tube was in the water, in the pitcher. So that's where the bubbles come from. So that's how that's created. And so when you combine the air pressure from the bubbles along with the sounds that's already underwater in the ice cubes, it moves the ice cubes around. And that's what that is. interestingly enough, didn't really take a lot to do. I did it pretty quick, but it was something that I wanted to bring to the show because I promised you guys that it's something that I was going to do in the next episode. And so I try to keep my word and bring this to you. I do different underwater recordings outside because normally I'll find some creeks around the area that I live, or like a lake. And one of my bigger microphones has a pretty lengthy cord to it. I think it's about 15 feet, maybe. It's pretty long, so I can stand up on the bridge and just drop it down in the water. So that's something I can't really share at the show. I put a little bit. There's a lot more involved in that, but I can't really show it because I don't have a camera crew to follow me around to document these processes. So I was able to bring a smaller version of that and just recreate that setting here in my home studio. That's what it is. That's if you check out the Instagram, you'll see the video. That's what that is. But underwater recordings was something that not the recordings itself, but the procedure for recording underwater is something that I discovered just doing my research. Because I didn't just find out. I've known for years, so this is not a brand new thing for me. But my research always consists of watching YouTube videos, and now since I've gotten a knack and a new love for Instagram and a new appreciation for Instagram, some of the other sound designers that I follow, without knowing it, they introduced me to hydrophones and what they were and how they're used. And by no means am I a professional hydrophone user, but I do use them for what they're supposed to be used for, and that's just recording underwater, capturing underwater soundscapes, or creating soundscapes from underwater sources. I want to do more of those. I want to do more underwater things since I have those microphones. And while it's warm enough for me to get out and go, because I don't like being out walking around for hours at a time in extremely hot weather. So it's hot here now, but like normally I'll find a more early morning time to go and do that. So I want to do that. Go check out some of these creeks around town or some lakes, and just see what I can capture and just have some fun with it and see. I will use a lot of sounds that I do capture I provide sounds for production houses, so I will use some of the major sounds that I do capture from them for those purposes. I'm thinking about setting up something else again for the show to share with you guys that involves hydrophones. Just maybe do it a different way. I know a while back I used a smaller hydrophone that I had with a glass of, I think it was seltzer water. It was something that it just created a fizz when I poured it in, and just that alone with ice cubes was an interesting sound. I might have to go back through my videos and see if I still have that video and maybe reintroduce it back to the show. That was an interesting way of using the hydrophones. It's still, I think we can only use it one way. That's in water. I thought another way that we can use that is just capturing rain. Not really recording rain, but just having it out in the rain and allowing the rain to rain on top of it. That may be an interesting sound. That's an idea. So we'll see what happens with that. I might try that. We're supposed to get some rain this weekend, so I might try that and see what happens. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for showing up, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening. If you found value in what you've heard, I kindly ask you to spread the word about the Sound Creator Podcast, share it with your friends, colleagues, and anyone who shares your fascination for the power of sound. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your preferred platform so you never miss an episode. You can also stay connected with me through my main website at cedricblack.com or at @saidblack on Instagram. Thank you once again for being part of this incredible journey. I look forward to bringing you more captivating episodes in the future. Until next time, keep exploring